Hello everybody, I'm Krasiattasio. I'm sidereal astrologer and this is my monthly analysis for the month of January. This analysis will be about following up the path of the moon from the appearance of the first lunar crescent, and I will follow up which planets, aspects, stars the moon is meeting on her way and in what way this manifests in terms of events in our life on mundane and also on personal level. So this is the usual analysis I make. Apart on a separate video, I will be analyzing the markets, the gold prices, the oil prices, the silver prices, the New York Stock Exchange, but this will be done in a separate video because not everyone is really following the markets. So this will be also my monthly prognosis based on the markets, on the planetary influences on the markets. Now I'm starting with 1st of January, and these are basically the last days of the previous lunar month. So the 1st of January, the moon actually has no course, and on the 1st of January, we cannot do much. The day is not appropriate for new beginnings. The day is also not appropriate for surgical interventions. It is really not good for any investments or special initiatives. It is very good for beauty practices because the moon is in the last degrees of Libra. It is very good for any artistic work. For this, the moon is really very productive. On the 2nd of January, the moon is in Scorpio, conjoining Jupiter. And this is really great for deep philosophical, psychological studies, teachings. It will be very productive for those that are doctors, for example, chirurgs, those that practice natural medicine or Ayurveda or any sorts of activities like that. These days also not appropriate for surgical interventions, nor is appropriate for new beginnings. The 3rd of January, this is the last lunar crescent, and basically these days not very productive. Well, you may opt to close some important activities, deeds, duties, but really do not start anything new. Do philosophical studies, do teachings, do meditation, do your routine work. For this, the moon will be fine. And then we will have the invisibility of the moon on the 4th, and on the 5th, especially 5th to 6th, the moon is making conjunction with the sun, and we are having the eclipse. And this eclipse, even though it will not be visible in big part of Europe, America, a small part of Russia and Asia will be covered by the eclipse, still, this is a time where we cannot do much, and it is happening from the 5th to the 6th of January in the night. So during the eclipse, it's not good to expose your food to the eclipse. It's not good to eat, to drink water. Appropriate is to stay in the temples, to stay home, to pray, to do your routine works without any fears. Just that these are very, very specific spiritual events which we need to benefit from in such way that we really do not harm ourselves. It is really not appropriate to travel. Absolutely no surgical or medical interventions on this day. Absolutely no risky business. Absolutely no negotiations. And this is 5th, 6th. While the moon is also invisible. Also, if you're having Sagittarius, Gemini on the ascendant, on midheaven, sun, moon, in these particular places, be cautious. Do not start new initiatives because for some not very long period of time, could be that you're not very lucky, and all new initiatives could be a little bit, could end up not with the desired results. On the 7th of January, the moon is appearing in Capricorn. And in Capricorn, again, there you have stars which are very clairvoyant, which are very spiritual, very deep in terms of desire to do exact studies, to do ancient knowledges, ancient studies. So basically this is, especially the horns of the Capricorn are very interesting place. So you may benefit this way. Still, because the eclipse was too soon, no new initiatives, no medical interventions are appropriate. Try not to negotiate. Try to be relaxed in terms of travel as well. And then on the 8th of January, the moon is still in Capricorn in the very last degrees, in Saturn in terms. So similar thing, do your routine work. You may be, if your Saturn on your natal chart is well placed, you may even experience very good advances at work, but no new initiatives, and do not desire any specific achievements after eclipse. On the 9th, the moon is entering Aquarius, and in Aquarius, you know, you have one of the royal stars, Fomalhaut, the star of the spiritual guru. And this is a wonderful star if you will be doing your spiritual practices, if you will be praying, if you will be doing some advanced studies in technology, in mathematics, astrology. This is the time. No new initiatives yet, no surgical interventions. 10th, similar situation. 11th, the moon is void, of course, has no course, and basically this is not productive in terms of business and new things. You may travel, you may do your routine work, you may do very good spiritual work, technology work, but still you won't be really very well rewarded if you do something new. On the 12th, the moon is afflicted and it's in Pisces. Be careful with medical interventions, be careful to stay away from conflicts, negotiations, risky situations. Be careful also with traveling. It's a day really to be cautious, and this is 12th and 13th of January. 14th of January, the moon is good in terms of daily routine life, in terms of our ambitions. It is not good again for surgical deeds, for medical interventions. Especially remember, the eclipse was too soon, and we are aiming at a new eclipse a few days on the 21st. But you may do very well your routine work. You may travel, though, carefully. 19th, this very similar. On the 16th, the moon is entering the degrees of Algol, good for money. These are also interesting degrees, which are very spiritual, where you can do beauty procedures, where you can do negotiations cautiously, but you can travel, you can do your routine business, you may have good results on this particular day. It's quite a good day, January 16th. On the 17th, similar, because the moon is conjoined Aldebaran, the most important royal star of money. 18th of January, void, of course. Do routine business, do earn your money. This is Taurus, so it's a lot about money. But really, I don't think that on this day we can do much or we can achieve much. You may travel, you may do beauty procedures, you may really not do medical interventions. I'm sorry, this month is not appropriate. With eclipses, we need to be very, very cautious, especially when doing medical important deeds. On 19th, the moon is in Gemini. And this is a point to be cautious, 19th, 20, because you have the opposition of Saturn, of Pluto. So during these days, do exact sciences, routine work, bookkeeping, do important things related to your unfinished work like bookkeeping, accountancy, exact things, time-oriented tasks. You may also do media work cautiously because Saturn is making opposition. Be careful when publishing things, be careful when traveling, do studies, do knowledge-based work. You may do also spiritual work, be cautious still. And this is until 20th. And then on the 21st, we're having the eclipse, which is happening 21st, 22nd of January on the axis of Cancer, Capricorn. And people who have this axis, ascendant, descendant, sun, moon, need to be really cautious around this period. Please don't travel, don't do important things. For all of us, it's valid not to expose our food, our drinks to the eclipse, also not to eat during the eclipse. And I'm not giving you timing, because for every part of the world, the eclipse is happening not on the same timing. 22nd, again, this is the time after the eclipse. The moon is in the last degrees of Cancer. So, and these are degrees where the moon is void, of course. After eclipse, really, we need to stay calm. We cannot do a lot. No medical deeds. We may do psychological work, spiritual work. So this is what this day is the most appropriate for, and it's after the eclipse. Routine business, routine work is fine without taking any risks. Also, let's be careful when we travel around this time. Same would be valid for the 23rd of January. On the 23rd of January, the day would have been good for surgical interventions, medical treatments, but because of the eclipse this month, I would not advise any of those. Do routine work. You may travel cautiously. You may do a lot of esoteric work, which will be rewarded for good, because we have many stars of astrology and of esoterics in Leo. Hydra is there, Alphard, Zosma, the nebula, all stars which denote knowledge, hidden knowledge. So this is quite appropriate timing for this. Travel you may do. What else? Yes. 24th of January, last degrees of Leo, void, of course, moon, absolutely no aspect with any planet. So routine work without high expectations. We cannot achieve a lot when the moon is void, of course. And then the moon is entering the Virgo, and in Virgo, we were talking about the moon in Virgo. On the 25th and the 26th of January, the moon is in Virgo, passing through a very beautiful place on the 25th, especially through the wings of the heavenly woman. And this is really purity, angelic beauty. And this is all about studies, sharing knowledge, knowledge in general, and intuition, spiritual work. It is also, the day is a bit risky for traveling, for risky work, because on the 26th, and especially on the 25th, and now especially on the 26th, the moon is receiving the exact opposition from Mars. The day, on the other hand, could be very interesting again in terms of studies, because the moon on the 26th is conjoined Spica, the beautiful star of knowledge, eloquence. So use the day for this, for sharing your knowledge, but without taking any risks, carefully driving, carefully traveling, and not negotiating, and no surgical interventions. I'm sorry to keep repeating this for this month, but we had 2 eclipses. On the 27th, the moon is in Libra, and in Libra, this is beautiful place for artistic work, for any work that desires creativity, beauty, knowledge of beauty, any artistic craft work, where you will be reviewing your knowledge. All this is happening here, and it's also good to travel, share your knowledge. It is also fine to do beauty procedures. Again, sorry, no medical interventions, but beauty procedures, if not invasive, are fine. To travel is fine. To write, to do media work is still fine. And then very similar is the situation for the 28th of January And on the 29th of January, the moon is entering the sacred degrees of Scorpio. And in the sacred, and there you can do a lot of deep spiritual, philosophical, knowledgeable work. Also psychological work. Medics would be really having beneficial time. Those that do natural healing as well. Be careful, again, a bit while traveling, no surgical interventions. You might do a lot intuition work, empathic work. And very similar is on the 30th of January, you may like to do, to share your knowledge as well with others. This will be rewarded on this particular day. 31st, you may travel. 31st, the moon is approaching the invisible Saturn on this particular day. Let's be careful with any risks. You remember, this was also the last point of the eclipse. So really, let's not take any risks. Let's do routine work, spiritual work, sharing our knowledge. This is a wonderful place for spirituality because there exactly is the Milky Way, the galactic center, so called by passing. So it is fine to do routine work, empathic work, helping others. So with this, the month is finalizing, and don't forget also that this day is also not good, 31st of January, for risky work. So be careful, stay away from risks, stay away from risky travel, do routine work, and be very empathic, be very spiritual. Keep your vibrational level high, because this will help us go through the not very easy celestial events like the eclipses. This will help us pass easily. So with this, I'm completing. If you like, you may look at my complete analysis of the year to come from the point of view of the 12 ascendants, also the general events on the sky that will happen in 2019. These are two separate videos. And after this video, you can see my video, which is related only to the markets, to the financial prognosis of the month of January. Thank you. With this, I'm completing.